after the transition from Hogares to Open Skies, I haven't had a counselor ever since. And that's part of the traumatic experiences that I had, because I don't want another counselor for the fact that I might have to transition to another one. It's very difficult for me to move around with different people and to get used to some like talking to them about my personal problems or what's going on in my life, and then the next week I'm with someone else.
If you look at New Mexico's behavioral health provider community, the demographic of that group doesn't always look like the demographic of our population. And that can be a barrier. They don't often speak the same language as the people, and especially in mental health, it's important to be able to communicate. It's important to be able to speak in your emotional language.
Why is it so difficult? Why is it so disorganized that the mental health, they're not taking it as serious as any physical health condition? It's, to me, your mental health and your body are one. Like when I'm physically ill and not feeling good, it affects my mental status. Or if I'm stressed out and full of anxiety, it causes pain in my body. They're connected.
When I was in juvie and I would see a lot of individual with needs go in there, juvie is not a place for any mental health individual. It actually doesn't really help with any of their behavior or any of their situations or anything they're kind of in.
It's not much of a system. There's a lot of various services that are very poorly funded, very hard to access, and kind of come and go with the winds. So there isn't much of a system. People with severe mental illnesses don't end up in the legislature, and they don't end up on the police force. And so the people you're dealing with, they're kind of analogizing this to, gosh, I had a bad day one time when my dad died. They just really don't know that this is something that's a serious illness. So I like to tell them it's like diabetes. It's a chronic illness that you have to treat in a lot of ways, and that is expensive, but the alternative is too.
There's tremendous resource in human potential in New Mexico, and oftentimes the provider community is not coming from New Mexico. We need to invest in developing a pipeline of providers that come from community and want to stay in community.
And many times the youth who go through these systems their whole lives are built off of instability. So having a policy that would kind of enforce that stability, enforce that the counselor that you have, unless you want to change, is the same counselor that you get, even if you're transitioning from services.
I'm asking for legislation to care, give doctors incentives to bring them here, and let's start caring about New Mexicans.
New Mexico should always have a positive influence towards our youth and anybody around our youth, no matter if they're mentally ill or mentally disabled. As a state and as like a government, they should actually figure something out.
There's not a real simple answer to this, but this is definitely one of those problems we can start to solve by throwing more money at it. And so anything we can do to help people get the treatment they need at the lowest possible level in the community is going to save us a lot of money and gives people a lot of quality of life.